Welcome back to The Ambassadors. I'm thrilled to dive into today's topic with you. Let's get right into it.
Hey there and welcome. So today we're going to dive into a really powerful way to think about overcoming fear. It all comes from a daily devotional by David F. Nwefulu. And I mean, if fears ever hold you back from anything, you're going to want to stick around for this. Let's jump in. So let's just start with a really simple question. Think about it for a second. What does fear stop you from doing? Maybe it's an opportunity, a tough conversation. We all have something. It's a feeling that affects everyone, and the devotional we're exploring offers a really unique take on how to conquer it. Okay, so to really get a handle on how to beat fear, the devotional we're looking at starts by defining what fear actually is. And spoiler alert, it's not just an emotion. And this is where things get really interesting. See, fear isn't just presented as, a feeling. It's framed as a spirit, like an active force. And this force, as you can see, is something that gets in the way of our decisions, our obedience, and ultimately our spiritual growth. Okay, so if there's this spirit of fear out there, then it stands to reason there's an alternative, right? And that's exactly what this devotional argues, that there's this powerful, God-given spirit designed to replace it completely. And this right here, this verse is basically the cornerstone of the whole idea. It's a really powerful declaration from 2 Timothy, making it crystal clear that fear is not from God. Instead, what we're given is a spirit of 3 incredible things: power, love, and a sound mind. And you can really see the contrast laid out here. So on one side, you've got the spirit of fear. It holds you back, creates confusion, and stops you from growing. But then, on the other side, you have the spirit from God, which does the exact opposite. It gives you power, it builds up love, and it brings you clarity with a sound mind. All right, so if that's the choice we have, the big question is, where do we get this strength to actually make that choice? Well, according to this devotional, it all points back to the cross. Now, this is a huge point the devotional makes about courage. It's not about pretending you're not scared or being some kind of superhero. It's all about trusting God even when you feel that fear. It's a choice, not a lack of feeling. So, okay, where do we look for an example of this? The devotional points us straight to the cross. The whole idea is that Jesus, by facing death with total trust, literally gave us the ultimate blueprint for how to face our own fears. Okay, so that's the big idea, the principle behind it all. But how does that actually play out in real life? What does this faith in action really look like? Well, the devotional brings up a classic example, David and Goliath. I mean, just picture it for a second. A young guy with a slingshot up against a literal giant. The key takeaway here is that David's courage didn't come from himself or his weapon. It came from his rock-solid belief that God's strength was with him. That's faith in action. So, how can you and I actually do this? The devotional gives us 3 pretty clear steps. First up, you've got to be honest with yourself and actually name the fears in your life. Second, you make a conscious choice to trust in God's strength, not just your own. And then finally, step 3, you start moving. You act boldly because you're empowered by that faith. So all of this, it's all building up to one final direct challenge. It's a call to take everything we've talked about and actually put it into practice. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, the devotional lays out a few key things. First, it starts with you. You declare that fear isn't going to run your life anymore. You commit to living with courage and faith. Next, you don't go it alone. You find strength in prayer and by connecting with a community. And finally, you live it. You walk in that authority that you've been given. And hey, if you feel the call, you help spread this message to others. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. If you really took this to heart, this idea of swapping fear for power, love, and a clear mind, what would change for you? Seriously, if you were truly fearless, what would be different? It's a pretty big question to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for watching. Please share, like, and comment. Your host, God7, David F. Nwefulu.